Hi, how are you, everyone? Welcome to Studio Cara. I'm Leslie Christin, and today we are going to talk about brows. And what I want to do is I want to share with you some really important things that you want to know when you are designing your brows or when you're looking for that optimal shape for your eyebrows. So, welcome. And today we are actually at Studio Cara, and one of our top services that we offer are eyebrows. And my model, Kylie, she is so pretty, and we had a lot of fun. So, what we've done is I already started with actually one brow. So, I'm hoping that you can see. And I kind of did something because I want to talk to you a little bit about so you kind of understand some of the options that you'll have. And so with Kylie, she is kind of like a natural strawberry blonde, and that's one of the things that I also look at often as well. Is I look at someone's hair color, maybe the opportunity or the possibility of tinting the brow along with shaping your brows. So one thing that I did, just kind of like a slight little subliminal switch here is that I designed her one eyebrow. Now, one thing that you want to look at, now this is just with color. So what I did is I looked at her facial features and I want to share with you. And if you have questions, feel free to, put those questions in the chat as well, because I'll be happy to share or answer any questions with you. Now, one of the things that you want to look at, so for example, for her, I wanted to tie in some of that warmth with her hair. And I also was looking at her eyebrow. Now, this eyebrow here has no color on it at all. So you can kind of see that it disappears. It looks a lot thinner as well. Now, we know that a lot of the trend right now is a fuller brow. It also, is kind of a little wispy and a bit more of a natural. But I wanted to enhance her arch a little bit as well. And what I did is I'm going to have you close your eyes for a second, Kylie. So I don't know if you noticed, but one eye, I did a warmer coloring on her eyeshadow, and the other one has more of like pinky purpley colors. And the reason why I did this is to kind of show you the options that you can have as well. So uh, while we were doing this, I thought, okay, let's just kind of bring out some of that warmth into her skin tone. And now for me, if Kylie were my, client that just walked through the door, then what I would do is I would also ask her, do you like your brows darker or do you like them lighter? And for her, of course, looking at that, she would be an optimal candidate to do a brow tinting. And a brow tinting, what it does is it's going to deepen, and also because she has a lot of blonde hair, and for those of you out there that you might have a lot more hair and fullness than you realize. So brow tinting is a fabulous option for that. And she has just a nice natural shape as well. So that is going to be one option. Now, I didn't tint it. I actually just did it with color on this. So that is one thing that you want to look at, because you can see here where it just kind of disappears. And it also, I'm going to talk about face shape in just a second too. So that is one thing that in here, so I kind of went a little bit more with a blonder tone versus like just a warmer, more of a redhead type of approach to her coloring. So it just kind of depends on you, what do you like the best? Now it was kind of interesting because when we did these cooler colors on her, she was thinking, wow, I can't wear those colors too much because she has some pinkiness in her skin. But honestly, I think they look beautiful. And so what we would do is with the brow, I'm going to not add as much warmth in the other brow to kind of show you also, you know, a different look. So one thing that we have here is, and I'm sorry because we're actually streaming on two different platforms right now. So I'm looking over here and I'm looking over there. So one thing that you do want to look at is also your facial features. So I'm going to go ahead here so you can look at, so Kylie has more of a fuller face. She also has a little bit more of a wider face. So you can tell that by just your facial structure. And also, she has right here, you can see where she's got a fuller cheek and then she's a little fuller here. If she had more of a narrow face, then you would kind of see, you know, this coming in, like, let's say, like right there. So, what that tells me is that, and also, I'm not sure if you can see this as well, is that with this eyebrow, giving it a little bit more fullness, obviously you're drawn more towards it, right? Because it's giving that eye a great frame. And then this one is just kind of disappearing and it's looking like it's coming down a little bit more. So by giving it a little bit more fullness, then we're actually going to be, you know, we're going to be enhancing the eyes and the facial features. So one thing also is that you want to look at, because both sides of our face are usually asymmetrical. Most of us do not have the same exact uh, height of our eyes. Sometimes we'll have a lid that's bigger than the other. Some people, you notice it a lot more than others. So that is one thing that you also want to look at. So when we were doing her brows and analyzing that a little bit more, one of the things that we noticed was that this side of her face is a little bit higher, right? So it is actually it's giving you already a natural higher arch, and so this side kind of came down a little bit more. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to even those out a little bit as well, right? So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, what I like to do is I like to just brush the brow. Again, here is just kind of fading out completely. So we want to build that up a little bit. What I also did on this other brow is I lengthened it. I kind of went out a little bit further, because what that's going to do is that it's also going to kind of balance out the width of the face. And so by bringing it up and adding a little bit of width, now you can see where you're really kind of enhancing a little bit more the bone structure, and it's also opening up the eye. The shorter the brow, the more squished in your eyes are going to look. So it's kind of a weird thing, but once you start to look at that, you'll kind of understand. Okay, so I'm going to actually start with a blonde pencil. And this one, I like this because it has a very thin little tip to it. And I'm actually not going to fill in right here. I'm going to start on this outer edge and right into the height of the brow where I want to add a little bit more height. So again, like, feel free to ask any questions if you're wondering about your own brows. And so what I'm doing is I'm already kind of adding a little bit of height to the brow without doing too much. Now I'm going in, and this, I have to say personally, on her, it does show up a little bit. It has a bit of warmth because her skin is very, well, what we would call her a neutral, because she has definitely more pinky undertone, very pale, and so you're going to see that certain colors are going to pull Lipsticks, like Kelly, when you put lipsticks on, do they go more orangey or do they go more pinky on you?
More pink.
More pink. Okay. So that's that natural undertone that's just popping through. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and now I have to tell you, doing this and looking into the camera is definitely a little challenging. So, but I wanted to build up the height of her brow, right? So what you're going to look at, you also kind of want to look at, make sure that the height, if you have an eye that's already a lot higher, then you kind of want to cheat it down and then you want to build the other one up. So these are kind of some of the tricks that you can do. Do you need to build up the brow more on the top side or do you need to maybe fill it in on the bottom side? So that's going to kind of help you because makeup and brows and coloring and all of that is smoke and mirrors. You know, we're talking about art and we're talking about, you know, balancing out our facial features. It's you don't want to have that cookie cutter brow for every different face shape. You want it to have a beautiful brow according to your brow shape, natural shape, according to your skin tone, and according to your facial features. That's going to help you the most. Okay, so the next step I want to do is I want to grab a little angle brush. So you guys can see that right here, the little small angle brush. And this is actually a pro brow palette that we have. So if you're a makeup artist or a makeup junkie, or maybe you just want a whole bunch of beautiful matte colors as well, what we created with this brow CARA palette is that you have a brow wax, which is what I'm going to put in her into her brow at first. And then here you have, this is a more of a highlighter, a neutral color, that's Madras. Then you also have Oslo. And then this is an eye primer. So you have that as well. And then you have all of the different colors that we can tie into, you know, anybody's eyebrow. And also we added in there, as you can see, like a nice warm color too. Because if she had like a really deep, rich mahogany color, I love to tie in some of that color into the brow as well. So you're not just stuck with a brown or a dark color. And another tip that I love to do is I like to always start with the brow lighter. I feel a lot of people go way, way too dark on their eyebrows. And especially the older we get, the softer we want to go with our eyebrows. You don't want to see those angry eyebrows just coming towards you. And then it's not, the brows are really there to enhance your eyes. You know, we want a beautiful brow, but it's really there to not overpower your eyes. It's really to like complement your eyes and make them look beautiful. So I'm going to take this brow wax. And what the brow wax does is it helps with positioning the hair with the eyebrow. And it's also going to help with that color to adhere. So I haven't added any color yet, but as you can see, just by enhancing a little bit with the pencil, and just to let you know also, you're going to use a pencil where there is less hair. So a pencil, because it's more of a wax based, and you want a pencil that's not going to be too creamy or also too thick. I love having a little tiny pencil because it gives you a lot of versatility, and it also gives you very deliberate placement. You don't want to have put a whole bunch of color and then try to take it away. It's always easier to build up than to try to take it down. So after putting in that putting in the brow wax, I'm actually going to go with this color, and it's called Malta. And Malta is, Malta's fabulous. I love Malta. It is a great color, but it's also a very taupey color. So it's not going to add that warmth. I'm actually wanting to take away a bit of that warmth so you can see the difference of the options. Because we went in actually with Madrid on the other eyebrow. And Malta is going to give me a little bit of a cooler ash tone. And of course, the client's the one that's going to want to choose, right? You know, she's the one that has the optimal decision right there as to what. So again, I'm going to go into Malta, and I want to show you the difference because this color here was the one that I used on this eyebrow, which is Madrid, and then Malta is this color, which is more ashy. Malta is also a fab. All of these colors can be used on your eyes too. So by adding this in, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the inner corner placement as well. But by adding this in, I am going to tone down a bit of that warmth on the brow. And I'm also going to, let's see in just a second what we have here. So I'm hoping, and if you guys can see this, can you see the difference between more of a cooler tone over here versus a warmer tone? I'd love to know if you can see this. And I think I can see it over there, right? Yeah, it's definitely visible. Yes. So she has the option of which one does she prefer. Now this is giving a much softer brow. I can see with the, you know, with a cooler color versus this is a bolder brow. Now I know my client, you know, she is definitely natural girl. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, this is going to be the brow that you prefer versus that one. But this is more of a defined brow, a little bit warmer. So what are you thinking so far?
Yeah, I definitely love this one.
Yeah, this one. So that's the thing. Like it has to tie into your personality. It kind of has to tie into what coloring do you feel more comfortable with. She has, you know, she looks gorgeous with either, like with warms or with cools. So not all of us have that, you know, possibility or opportunity to kind of switch up. But, and then here, so let's say if we wanted to go a little bit higher on the brow, what you're going to do is you're going to work on building your eyebrow right up onto the higher point, right? You're going to take that up a little bit there. And then another thing too is that if you tend to extend your makeup further out, you want to make sure that your brow doesn't stop here and then your makeup starts all the way out or ends all the way out there. So you really kind of want it to balance also with your eye. Now, one thing that I did too, and if you can see the difference on the two eyebrows, is that this one is fuller and darker in that inner corner. And we were kind of playing around a little bit with that too. Some people tend to, especially if you are a little bit more of a trendsetter and you've kind of follow, you know, the super trendy brow, a lot of people take their brows way far in. And then it's almost kind of giving you, you know, you're teetering on the unibrowish kind of look, you know? So what that does is, and I think I see a lot of this too, because a lot of times beautiful brows that you see in pictures of brows, you're only seeing one eye on Instagram. You're not seeing both eyes. So you're not seeing the two brows together. But what happens is that you also want to look at your eye shape and how your eye, the width of your eyes and the placement of your eyes. So what you do in order to understand this is that for a balanced eye shape, you want to be able to fit one eye in between your two eyes. That's really kind of how you want to analyze your eyes. Now, also, it depends also on the bridge. So for example, if you're Asian, Asians have a very flat bridge. So you don't have this height. What the height does to the nose and the bridge of the nose is that it does create more closeness, or just gives you the visual or the appearance that your eyes are closer. So you do want to keep that a little bit lighter in that inner corner. a lot of times I've worked with Asian clients, and they may appear as though they're far set, but when you measure, they're not. It's just that you have to build up the bridge of the nose a little bit. So these are all things that, as brow experts, these are the things that we understand and that we design when we're creating your eyebrow shape. Now, again, if you take that brow too far in, then you're going to start to look really close set. And then what's going to happen? So, for example, like with Kylie, she's got a gorgeous nose. But if we brought that brow really far in, then what it's going to do is it's basically creating an arrow, and it's going to make her nose look very protruding. And these are little things that people don't necessarily know. They just know it looks a little funky, you know? So that's the way to understand how you can create a really beautiful balanced brow. Now I'm going to take a little bit more color right in this inner corner here. And so you can see if we want to kind of balance those two out a bit and giving it a little bit more. So always work more and then less. Another thing I do want to share with a lot of you out there that are getting microblading right now, is really before you decide to do that, is really understand and consult with your microblading artist that they understand all of these things that I'm explaining to you. Because this is a version of permanent makeup, and a lot of people are very quick to go onto the bandwagon. And I've seen some things that, again, and some people end up with not so beautiful brows, and you're kind of stuck with that. Now you're having to take away a lot of the problems that you thought, oh, I don't want to deal with my eyebrows, and now you kind of have a different problem. Another thing with that, because it's a very popular service right now, is that if you are thinking of getting any kind of plastic surgery or having your eyes done, you probably want to get microblading done after, because what's going to happen is that, again, our it's asymmetrical. So a lot of times, what'll happen is that one eye will open up more than the other eye. And now if you had permanent brows designed according to your old eye, now you have another problem with your new eyes. So these are just things that I've seen over the years of being a makeup artist and a brow artist and esthetician that I like to share with my audience, so you're aware of these different things. Because brows are when they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, right? But they do require a little bit of work. So the last thing that I like to do is I like to add some of our brow mascara. And again, right now the trend is a really beautiful wispy type of brow. So you can just brush them up, make them look a little bit more natural that way. And all it is just a little bit of a clear gel. So you can decide, let me know, which one do you like better? Do you like the more golden, warmer brow? Do you like the cooler brow? We know Kylie likes the cooler brow. Yeah, so it's kind of fun, isn't it? Yes, so you can kind of see that difference there. So key things that you want to do is understand your facial structure. Number one, above anything, understand your facial structure. Look at what you have to work with your brow, that natural, beautiful brow. So the least amount of work that you have to do with your eyebrow, the better it's going to look, right? And just kind of work with what you have. Now for her, I know she's super active and likes to, be outdoorsy and all that. So for me, a brow tint would be a no-brainer. That would be like, oh, perfect, because we're going to get a lot more fullness out of it. And then, just having that brow shaping. And for those of you that are in the Central Florida area and you want to come to Studio CARA, get your brows designed, definitely give us a call. All week long is our 1-year anniversary from being in our new location. Now we've been in business for well over that 20 plus years. So, but here at Studio CARA in our new studio, so you can come here. We're doing 2-for-1. So if you've got a great friend or your mom or somebody else or your boyfriend even that you want to come and you want to get your brows done all week long, you can schedule your service. And it's 622-1999. You can call us, or you can just go to, obviously you're on Instagram or you're on Facebook. So there's ways to make online appointments too. And I want to thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this, and definitely play around with your brows. Kylie, I love them. I think you look so pretty. And we look forward to meeting you really soon. So thank you. Bye.